Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and we create videos every Saturday about prayer, about exploring the Bible and about living out your faith. And today, the penguins are going to be choosing my April TBR, the books I'm going to be reading in April. So I have Arnold, I have Reggie the Rhino, I have the game over here, I have books, I have more books, I have my laptop. So let's start by looking at the books that I read in March. So when I'm filming this, there are still a few days left in March, but so far I have read 8 books this month. But let's start with the 5 that the penguins chose for me. So the first book I read was The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett, and I gave this book 3 stars. So this is a historical literary fiction book about 2 sisters growing up in America, and they run away from their village, and then eventually one of them decides to pass as white and marry into a white family, and one of them marries a black man and moves away. And the story follows these 2 sisters throughout their lives, and it looks at their daughters' lives as well, and what happens when those 2 daughters meet. It was a really interesting book, really enjoyable to read. I just didn't like the kind of way that it jumped around quite a bit. I don't mind like changing perspectives and changing times, but the way this one did it, I just didn't really work for me. You didn't jump back and forward, you just kind of stuck with one person, then another person, then another person. I didn't really like that format, and also I kept feeling like we were building up something happening and then that thing wouldn't happen, and that, yeah, it just felt a bit disappointing. But loads of people have loved this book, so if you're interested, I definitely recommend giving it a go. The next book that I read was All That We Carried by Erin Bartels. So this is a Christian contemporary fiction book, and I gave it 4 stars. So this book is about 2 sisters whose parents died about 10 years ago, and they've kind of drifted apart over that time, and this is kind of them coming together to go on this hike that one of the sisters hopes is going to rebuild their relationship. And a lot of it is just about this walk and about the conversations that they have, and them talking about what they believe and why, and how they have dealt with their grief in the 10 years since their parents' death. It was really good, and I found the conversations really interesting. The only reason it didn't get 5 stars was because there were a couple of points where some of the characters seemed a bit of a caricature, a bit over the top versions of themselves, and it didn't need to be quite so in your face. And also towards the end it hinted at a couple of things about one of the characters, and I was like, please don't do that, please don't do that. And I think if it had actually come out and said what it was hinting at, I would have knocked it down to a 3 star. But it didn't actually say it, so in my mind, it's not a thing, and I'm just going to ignore it. The next book I read was A Bend in the Road by Nicholas Sparks, and I gave this 4 stars. So this is a reread, but I haven't read it for quite a few years. So this is about a man and his son, and his wife died a few years ago in a hit-and-run car accident. And it's about his relationship with his son's teacher, but also it's about kind of finding out who hit his wife in this hit-and-run accident. And I find this book just so easy to read. It was a really quick read. It was really just enjoyable, easy reading. The 4th book I read was The Crucible by Arthur Miller. So I studied this in school but have kind of ignored it ever since. It was kind of different to how I remembered it. I think because we studied it so much in school, I kind of thought that there was more to it. I didn't realise it was literally like 4 scenes and that's it. It was really, really short, really, really quick. Beginning I found really like slow to get into, but like it was just such an easy read that I gave it 3 stars. I'm sure that having studied it in school does ruin it a little bit, because you just talked about everything so much, that I'd be interested to know like what I would think about it if I read it now, because it's interesting but like not a lot happens. So, and then I am currently still reading Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which is about a time-travelling coffee shop where you can go back in time to see other people that have been at that coffee shop. I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm about halfway through, so there are kind of 4 stories in this and I've read 2 of them. I'm really enjoying it. I can see why people don't love it. The writing style is definitely very different to anything I've experienced before. This is the first book that I've read that's been translated from Japanese, so I don't know if that's going to be similar in other books translated from Japanese, or whether that is particular to this author. I'm not sure, but it's quite a dry writing style, I guess. It's very like straight to the point, not too much kind of fluffy language or anything like that, which it took me a minute to get used to, but I quite like it. I quite like that kind of straightforward, just telling the story. It's covered some really interesting topics so far, and I think I'll definitely finish this by the end of the month. So I have completed the TBR that the Penguins have chosen for me, but I have also read a few extra books, so I'll just run through these quite quickly. I'm not going to say tons and tons about them, but I'll just tell you a little bit and my ratings for them. So I finished the audiobook for Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which is book 6 in the series. It's not one of my favourites in the series, but you know, it's fine, it's Harry Potter. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read The Frequency of Us by Keith Stewart, and this was a NetGalley book, so thank you to NetGalley for letting me read this. And this was not at all what I expected. It's kind of romance slash historical slash mystery, all kind of mixed into one, and I had no idea what was going on for quite a while. And it took me a long time to decide whether I liked the ending or did not like the ending, but it definitely wasn't my favourite way of ending it. I gave it 3 stars, and it does cover some really interesting topics, but again, I just didn't love the ending and kind of what happened. Then I also listened to the audiobook of European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman, which is the second book in the Athena Club series, which is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. It's the first book in that series. So I read the second one now on audiobook, and the audiobook is amazing. I really recommend the audiobook for that. The second book is a lot longer than the first one, but it was really good. There was so much interesting stuff happening, and you see them travel across Europe as well. And I just really love that series, and that was 5 stars. I'm very excited to read the third one. And then finally, I read When They Find Her by Leah Middleton. This was also an audiobook that I got through NetGalley, so big thank you to them again. And I loved this. This was a thriller, and I gave it 5 stars, and it's amazing. It's about this mum who tells a lie and reports her daughter missing, and it's about watching kind of the police investigation unfolding as they investigate this missing child report, and you kind of find out about the mum's history and her past and what's kind of brought her to here, as also working out like what actually happened. And it's a real like spiral of lies type situation, so very tense, really interesting. And that's just come out on audiobook and on ebook, so definitely pick that up if you can. So those are all of the books that were on my March TBR. And I think that's been a pretty successful month. So let's move on to April's TBR. Before we play the game, I have made a couple of little tweaks to the game that I just want to mention. So if you're not familiar with Penguins Choose My TBR, then I will link a playlist down in the description where you can see all of the previous rounds of this game. But I have changed a couple of the different penguin spaces. So I did have thriller and mystery separate, and I realised that a lot of my thrillers are mysteries and a lot of the mysteries are thrillers, so it made more sense to combine them. So now the African penguin is now thriller and mystery. So it can be a mystery thriller, or it can be just a mystery or just a thriller, and they can all come under that category. I have added on Blue Penguin, that is now children's, middle grade and YA, because I just don't have a ton of children and middle grade. So I'm going to add YA in there as well. And that means that Rock Copper Penguin, I'm now going to change to literary fiction, just because more of those are coming up on my wish list, on my TBR, books I want to read. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we're starting over here where we finished off last time. Let's roll the dice for number 1. We've got a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, a red. So we're going to get our penguin and pull out a red piece of paper. This one. A Tap on the Window. Okay, so my first book is A Tap on the Window by Linwood Barclay. I have read this before, but only on audiobook, and I missed quite a lot of it because we were listening to it like as we fell asleep. So I definitely like haven't read the whole thing. I definitely missed quite a lot of it. So I do have it on audiobook and I have it in physical form, so I will choose whichever I feel like when I actually get through it. But this is I think it's a thriller. I'm not sure if it's mystery or thriller. but it's about this guy who gives a lift to a girl, and then I think she ends up either missing or dead. There are two girls, one's missing, one's dead. And he ends up kind of being a murder suspect in this investigation because he gave this girl a lift home. So for roll number 2, we have a 2. 1, 2. Oh, we've got a blue. I don't think we've actually landed on a blue before. So we've landed on Pingu. And Pingu means a book in a series. Okay, so we got a book in a series. I don't actually have that many series on my bookshelves, so I think what I'm going to go for is The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerising Girl, which is the 3rd book in the Athena Club series. So we've got The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, The European Travel for Monstrous Gentlewoman, which I read in March, and now The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerising Girl. And again, I've got this on audiobook, and I'm really excited to read it and finish off this series. I think it's going to be really, really good. Roll number 3. A 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another blue. Again, I said we hadn't landed on a blue, and now we land on 2 in a row. So this is Mumble the Penguin. Mumble from Happy Feet. And that means that we need to read a book with a music theme or an arts theme, anything like that. Okay. Again, I really don't have that many books on my shelf that have a music theme. Let's have a look at what's available in my library. Okay, I think we're going to stretch the music and arts theme just a little bit and go to kind of comedy and TV, which I think is a form of art. So I've got the Best of Miranda. So this has got different episodes, I believe. Lots of stuff. So I think this could be really funny, really interesting. I haven't read it before and I've had it for ages. So we're gonna give this one a go. Okay, roll number 4. It's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A macaroni penguin. And a macaroni penguin means a wild card, so I can choose absolutely anything for this one. Okay, so for my wild card choice, I'm going to choose The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent, which is a NetGalley book, which comes out in kind of beginning mid-April, so I'd quite like to get it read before then. And this is a kind of contemporary romance book about a woman who kind of takes her best friend's place in this job in Scotland, and she's kind of working at a hotel pretending to be her best friend. So it gives me kind of Chalet Girl vibes, but with a bit more kind of secrecy to it, I guess. I think it could be really interesting, really kind of easy, light summer read. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay, roll number 5. 2. 1, 2. Okay, we have an orange. Let's have a rummage around in the penguin and pick a orange piece of paper. Okay, random number generator TBR shelf. Okay, so on my laptop I have my spreadsheet which has my TBR list of kind of owned books. And I'm going to pick a random number using a random number generator. Okay, so we're going to put in numbers 2 up until number 35. Those are all the books that are on my spreadsheet. And we're going to generate a random number, see what we get, and then we'll be reading that book, as long as I haven't already chosen it. In which case, we will pick a new number. 23. Okay, let's see which book is number 23. Okay, 23 is The Summer Job, the one I literally just picked. Okay, let's choose a new number. Okay, let's try again. Number 13. Okay, let's see if this has given us a better choice. 13. Okay, God is Stranger. Excuse me. Excuse me, Rosie. Please, can you stop? Trying to film. You done? Thank you. So that random number generator picked God is Stranger by Krish Kandaya for us. This is, from what I can tell, there's not much synopsis anywhere about this, but it seems like it's a non-fiction about kind of the stranger parts of God's character and who God is, and kind of some of the bits that we don't understand, and kind of tackling some of those questions about who God is and how he can sometimes seem quite strange. So I can't decide if I'm excited about this book or apprehensive, or I just don't really have any idea what to expect from this book. So we shall see what it gives us. Okay, so those are the books that the Penguins have chosen for my April TBR. We have A Tap on the Window by Linwood Barclay. We have The Best of Miranda by Miranda Hart. We have God is Stranger by Krish Kandaya. And then we also have The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerising Girl by Theodora Goss. And we have The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent. So here is the stack plus 2 more. And I think this is very manageable for this month. I think this will be quite interesting. And you will see me again next month and I will let you know how all of these books have been. You can find all of the books that I've talked about, whether I read them last month or I'm going to read them this month, linked down in the description. So if any of them interest you, head down there and check them out. And if you'd like to hear more about the books that I read in March, at the very beginning of April, I will have a blog post out that will have my fuller thoughts and reviews of all of those books. And I will link that down in the description when it has come out. So we hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold. All this week we have videos coming out every single day with prayer reflections for each day of Holy Week up until Easter Sunday. You can go and check those out. And do let us know down in the comments, what did you read in March? What are you planning to read in April? Have you read any of the books that I mentioned? What did you think about them? And we will see you very soon for a new video. Bye!